So I think that maybe first, I'll just like set the scene for everything,
Sure.
and then you can just answer questions
That sounds good to me.
with like a yes or a no.
Okay, yeah.
So, where were we 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, I don't know, you have to be more specific.
Were we at a soccer game?
So at some point around 2 weeks ago, I was at a soccer game, yeah.
Okay. Was your wife with you?
Savannah usually goes with me to the soccer games. If you're just talking about the FC games,
What's her name?
Savannah,
Okay. And she was there at the soccer.
she goes with me to the soccer games, so I'm not sure which soccer game you're talking about.
There was a soccer game, an FC Cincinnati game in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago against another blue-colored team, right?
Yeah, they've played a team that was blue. They played a lot of teams that were blue though, so I'm not really sure which one you're talking about.
And Savannah was with you.
Savannah has gone with me to every game I've been to.
So your wife's name is Savannah.
That is correct as of now.
And when you were at the soccer game with the other blue-colored people against FC Cincinnati a couple weeks ago with your wife Savannah and you bought drinks, right?
Yes, I think so.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vetter.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I'd like to start by talking about when you arrived at that FC soccer game a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It's true that around 2 weeks ago on the weekend, there was an FC soccer game, right?
That's correct.
And you went to that soccer game.
I did.
It was against Real Salt Lake,
That's correct, yes.
and it was here in Cincinnati.
Correct, at Nippert Stadium.
You went with your wife.
Yes, I did.
Her name is Savannah.
That's correct.
You arrived at the stadium a couple minutes before the game started, right?
Well, the game started at like 7, so we got there, I don't know, 6:30. I wouldn't say a couple minutes, but, a little bit before.
So you got there before the game started.
We were there before the game started, yes.
You were early.
A little bit early. We got to our seats before, kickoff had started, but, it depends on what you consider early.
When you walk into Nippert for a FC soccer game, there are a couple beer tents, right?
Yeah, there's several beer tents, beer vendors. You can buy alcohol all over the place.
Rheingeist sells beer there.
I think that's one that I've seen before, yeah.
You've seen a Mad Tree tent at FC games before?
I'm not sure I've ever seen Madry there. I couldn't say that they're.
A couple weeks ago against Real Salt Lake, you bought drinks from a Rheingeist tent.
Yeah, probably so. We like Rheingeist, so we probably bought that.
There was a selection of beers at the Rheingeist tent, right?
And there's a couple, like there's 2 or 3 different beers you could buy.
There was a drink called Wowie, right?
Yeah, they have a drink called Wowie, the pineapple flavored one.
Right, it's a pint. Let's get into talking about what happened at the game now.
Okay.
What time did you get there?
The game started at, I think kickoff's at 7 p.m., so we probably got there around 6:30, 6:40.
Can you describe to the jury what does the stadium look like when you arrived?
Sure, so if you've been to Nippert, it's kind of like, sunken in a little bit. So there's a lot of people still standing around, like where you buy the drinks and around the, where you buy the shirts and the jerseys and all of those things. Only about a third of the stadium had been filled in at that point. Because, like I said, everybody was getting all their stuff to go be seated. There wasn't a ton of people there, I would say, compared to other games, because it wasn't great weather. It wasn't raining when I got there, but it was like it was about to be. But I would say that's what the stadium really looked like when I arrived.
And you mentioned there were some drink areas, right?
Yeah, so if you've been to the stadium, there's kind of like a ring around the stadium, and they set up tents, every couple sections with, draft beer, and then they have individual vendors selling canned beer pretty much, every 20, 30 feet.
Did you buy any drinks that night?
Yeah, we bought some from some of the tents. We like the draft beer more than the cans, so we typically visit one of the tents. It's all like Cincinnati local breweries, so we try to hit up as many different ones as we can, in a game. Try to get a little, variety.
Now let's talk about why we're here today.
Okay.
When your wife was standing there with her beer, what happened?
So, it was probably about halfway through the game. Everybody had had a couple beers, they'd been watching the game. It was really cold, so it was like kind of tough on your hands, you know, to hold on to that cold beer. And at one point, my wife turned when she was cheering for, we almost scored a goal, and some of her beer slipped, or she like spilled a little bit of it. But it went underneath the guy in front of us, and like we don't landed below him. But he was claiming that it is his fault.
I'd like to break down that answer a little bit.
Sure.
You said it was about halfway through the game. Do you remember what time that would be?
I don't know the exact time, but I know it was before halftime, which is the 45-minute mark. So if I was guessing, I'd say between the 35 and 40-minute mark.
And you mentioned that it was kind of cold outside. Do you remember an exact temperature or a range?
I believe it was about 45. I think when we got to the game, about 6 when we were about to leave for the game, it was 50s, and it was supposed to get colder as the night went on. So I'd say at that point, 50, 45, something in that range.
Was Savannah wearing any mittens?
She was wearing one, but she had given her other one to somebody else in our group that had cold hands.
And you said that she was cheering, or that the crowd was cheering.
Correct.
Why were they cheering?
Yeah, so we almost scored a goal. You know, we had a shot on target and just missed the goal. So everybody got really excited. They thought it was going to score. And that's, you know, when she threw her hands up is when the beer sloshed out.
Now, when people were cheering, were you in kind of a crowded spot?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty close. It wasn't a completely packed stadium, so it wasn't, you know, we weren't shoulder to shoulder, but, you know, there's definitely people within arm's reach every direction.
And how did she spill that beer?
So, I mean, the best way I could probably show you was just like, you know, by using my hand, if that's helpful, but she just kind of put her hand up, and you can imagine the liquid kind of flies out whenever you move your hand that quickly, like this.
Could you demonstrate how you saw her hand move?
Sure, so, you know, she was kind of facing this way, and then we're watching the goal, so they're going down the left side, so she was watching that, and then when they had the shot, everybody kind of threw their hand up like this, and the beer was in her right hand at that point, so we kind of threw her hand up, and brought it back down, and because the beer was pretty full, about half of it spilled out.
Now let the record reflect the witness raised both of his hands above his shoulders and kept them nearly level. After she moved her hands like that, how much beer would you say you saw come out?
You know, I would say the beer was almost full, and maybe a third of the beer had sloshed out whenever she did that, if I was guessing.
Could you see it fall?
Yeah, I could see it come out.
And where did it go?
To me, it looks like it all hit, so the way the stadium is, there's the concrete kind of steps down and the bleachers step down with it, and it looks like it kind of hit on the concrete behind where the bleacher part is.
Did you see any? Isn't that an incident report?
Well, looks like it, I guess.
Okay, if you could open the first page of the incident report and start reading from the second paragraph, the second sentence.
Where would you like me to read from?
Objection, Your Honor. This document's not been entered into evidence.
It doesn't need to be, Your Honor.
The witness is attempting to read off of a document that hasn't been entered into evidence, which is an out-of-court statement being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. So we ask that they lay the foundation to enter this record into evidence before they read off of it.
Okay. Isn't that an incident report?
Does appear to be an incident report, I guess.
Have you seen incident reports before?
No, I have not.
Did you see that incident report in this case?
I have seen this piece of paper before.
Does it look the same as when you saw it last?
I think so, I don't really remember.
Can we talk about it, Your Honor?
Are you offering it into evidence?
Yes.
Then I would object to hearsay as opposing counsel. Hearsay within hearsay. There are multiple levels of hearsay within this document, Your Honor, and the foundation has not been laid for those statements to be entered into evidence.
Well, Your Honor, first of all, this is incredibly important to my case because it is probative, and I needed to prove one of the elements of my case. Second, this is not hearsay within hearsay because there is one layer to this hearsay, which is only the defendant's statements, and there is rationally based perceptions. I'm approaching opposing counsel with what's been marked as plaintiff's 1. May I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm handing the witness plaintiff's 1. What did I just hand you, Mr. Better?
It appears to be an incident report.
Can you read the full title, please?
It is the FC Cincinnati incident report regarding Dennis.
Is that a genuine and authentic copy of that incident report?
It appears to be.
Plaintiff offers plaintiff's 1 into evidence.
I would object to hearsay. This document contains multiple levels of hearsay, the foundation for which has not been laid.
This is admissible. The first layer of hearsay, Your Honor, is the defendant's own statements. Pursuant to Rule 801 D2A, they are exempted from hearsay because they are a statement made by a party opponent. The second layer of hearsay is an exception to hearsay pursuant to Rule 803.6 and a certifying document attached to the record, which shows pursuant to Rule 902.11 that it is a business record, and it was certified by the custodian of that document. Therefore, this objection should be overruled, and the document should be admitted.